Tyler, what are you doing? Why are you posting another video? Didn't you just upload yesterday? Isn't this your third video this week? Yes, it is, but for good reason, kind of. So Tana Mojo just posted a video recently about conspiracy theories, and one of them that she talked about was the Mandela Effect, which I didn't know about prior to this video, but Tana talked about it, and then it just it was so messed up and weird, and it kind of fucked me up a little bit. So I had to look it up more and dig deeper, and the stuff I found out about the Mandela Effect and different examples of it, it's just so weird, and I wanted to share it with you guys and talk about it. I honestly don't know where to start with this whole thing, but basically what the Mandela Effect is, it's basically when a large group of people remembers something from the past, but that thing actually isn't true or never happened, but there are multiple people who have the same memory of it. For example, where the whole thing came from basically was thousands and thousands of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s while he was in prison, but that never happened. And actually he ended up dying in 2013, and he was alive the whole time, but for some reason there were just a lot of people who remember seeing his death on the news and it's saying he died in prison and stuff about his funeral and everything. People vividly remember this, but it never happened. If you look it up, Nelson Mandela was alive. He died in 2013 at his home in Johannesburg. And I just thought it's so weird that there's thousands and thousands of people, if you look it up, there's people on forums and everything, and they remember him dying in prison in the 80s, but that didn't happen. And basically the Mandela Effect is a form of evidence supporting the idea of alternate dimensions and realities and alternate universes. Those are all things that I could talk about in its own video, so I'm not gonna dig too deep into that. But what I wanted to talk about was the Mandela Effect, because I've always kind of thought about the idea of different realities and different dimensions and universes and stuff. I've looked that stuff up, and to me it's just I can't even comprehend it, and I never really knew if I believed it, but this Mandela Effect thing just made me believe it. And a lot of you guys might not be able to relate to Nelson Mandela and thinking that, because obviously most people from my generation and younger, you weren't alive in the 80s, so you wouldn't be able to recall Nelson Mandela dying in prison. But there's a whole bunch of other evidence, and that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video. So the next really popular evidence of the Mandela Effect is the Berenstain Bears, which basically was a very popular children's book series. Basically, a lot of people just remember it being called the Berenstain Bears, but it's actually spelled Berenstain Bears. So it's spelled with an A, but everyone remembers it being spelled with an E. And people remember it vividly. They're no, I know it's spelled with an E. But all these people would go back and they would find their old book and it was spelled with an A the whole time. So basically, maybe in some alternate reality, it was spelled with an E. But the whole idea, again, with this Mandela Effect is, I guess, that maybe someone went back in time and changed something, and that triggered a bunch of other things to be changed in our reality that we have today. So a long time ago, we might have been living in a different reality and things were just different than they are now. And now things are changed. And again, this is another one you guys probably can't really relate to too well, because it's more for the older generations, I guess. But keep listening, there's more. The next one is, there are also a lot of people who remember there being Jiffy peanut butter, which we know now as Jif peanut butter. But the reality is that there was never such thing as Jiffy peanut butter. But if you ask a lot of adults and stuff, they'll say no, I remember for sure there was a Jiffy peanut butter. And a lot of people believe that Jiffy peanut butter was the original brand and they just rebranded it to Jif peanut butter. But if you look it up, there was never any such thing as Jiffy peanut butter. But so many people remember it being Jiffy, but that just never was a thing. Now we're gonna get into some stuff that you guys can probably relate to a little bit more. This next one is the one that really made me think, oh my god, what is going on? So Everyone knows Snow White, the Disney movie cartoon, and obviously the most famous scene from that movie is when the evil queen is looking into the mirror and she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall." That's like the most famous quote from the movie. Everyone knows that. Mirror, mirror on the wall. However, that is not what she actually says in the movie. If you go back and you watch the movie, you can look it up. Even if you go and grab your old VHS tape from like 1990, whatever, she never says mirror, mirror on the wall. What she actually says is magic mirror on the wall.
What wouldst thou know, my queen?
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest one of all?
But nobody knows it as magic mirror on the wall. Everyone knows that she says mirror, mirror on the wall. So the whole thing is like, maybe back when we were kids and stuff, it was mirror, mirror on the wall, but ever since then, the reality has changed because of something, who knows what, and now it's magic mirror on the wall. But if you look it up, it was never mirror, mirror on the wall, but that's just like, that's what everyone knows, so it's just so weird. And a lot of people blame the Mandela effect on human memory and just that we're really shitty with our memory and it's very delicate and like, it can be distorted easily and we can come up with false memories. And that's a very reasonable explanation for the Mandela effect. However, what's really strange is that so many people have the same exact false memory. Just the fact that there's thousands of people who remember something to be the same way, but it's just not true, is what's so strange. But there's more. These next couple ones are Star Wars related, but even if you don't really watch Star Wars, you can still probably kind of be like, you'll know, okay? So, what's the most famous quote from Star Wars? It's what Darth Vader says to Luke Skywalker. It's, "Luke, I am your father." Right? That's the quote from Star Wars. Am I shitting you? I shit you not. No, that's not the quote. That is not what Darth Vader says to Luke. If you go back and you watch the movie, Darth Vader actually says, "No, I am your father."
He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
He doesn't say, "Luke, I am your father." He says, "No, I am your father." You guys need to understand, like, I went deep into the internet and I was like going on forums and stuff, and there were so many people who were like around when the movie first came out and they saw it in theaters, and there were people who are like avid Star Wars fans and they saw the movies multiple times, and they can tell you that they remember for a fact Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father." And also there's really no explanation for why, like, that's just what the famous quote is. But what? Like, no, that's not what he said. So like that messed me up because like I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And there's one more Star Wars thing. If you guys don't know who C-3PO is, he's the gold droid that's in all the Star Wars movies who's with R2-D2 all the time. And he's all gold, right? Everyone remembers him as the gold droid, and he's not all gold though. In reality, he has one leg that's silver. And when I saw this, I was like kind of messed up because I was like, wait, like he had a silver leg? Because it's extremely noticeable if you look at the pictures or you see the clip. But he has a silver leg in the original trilogy. And again, there are so many Star Wars fans who are like avid fans, like their life is Star Wars, and they never remember C-3PO having a silver leg. They're like, that's something that sticks out because it's like, it's not symmetrical, like it's uneven. He has a silver leg and the rest of him's gold. So like, why does he have a silver leg now in the movie? And it just doesn't make any sense. Now I'm sure you guys have all seen The Wizard of Oz. It's literally been around for almost 100 years. And it's just one of the most popular movies of all time. But what little people can recall about the movie is the fact that the Scarecrow carried around a gun in the movie. He literally carried around like a pistol in the movie. How many of you guys remember the Scarecrow carrying around a pistol? Because I sure as hell do not remember that. And so many people, no one remembers that at all. Like, no one remembers the Scarecrow carrying a pistol when they're walking through the forest. And the Tin Man had an axe, but the Tin Man also was carrying a giant wrench, which nobody remembers him ever carrying a giant wrench. But if you go back and you watch the movie and you watch the clips, the Scarecrow in fact is carrying a gun, and the Tin Man is carrying an axe in one hand and a giant wrench in the other hand.
I'd turn back if I were you.
And that just makes no sense. Like, no one remembers the Scarecrow carrying a gun, and no one remembers the Tin Man carrying a giant wrench. So why is it that now that's a thing all of a sudden? Alright, and the last piece of evidence I wanted to tell you guys about the Mandela Effect has to do with Mona Lisa, the famous painting. You guys have all seen it. And if you can think back to when you were like a kid and you were looking at the Mona Lisa, you could always see her facial expression. And how do you remember Mona Lisa's facial expression? It's very serious, kind of like emotionless, and she just has like a very slight smirk on her face. Like in the corner of her mouth, you can just barely see like a grin, right? Wrong. If you look at Mona Lisa now, it's so weird. Like, I remember Mona Lisa having a serious face, like barely showing any emotion. But now when I look at Mona Lisa, you can see a very clear grin on her face, like she is smiling. And it's like not emotionless like it was when I saw it as a kid. So according to the Mandela Effect, the Mona Lisa actually changed. Back when we were younger, she wasn't smiling. She had a serious face, but for some reason now, she's clearly smiling. Like, it doesn't make any sense. If you guys Google the Mandela Effect, there are so many more stories and different things you can read about, and it just messes with your mind because you just think certain things were a certain way, but they never were. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, is there an alternate reality that we were living in before? Like, what is going on? It doesn't make any sense, and it's really freaky. So let me know if you guys like believe in the Mandela Effect, or if you think it's just like everyone's stupid. I really don't know, but it really like messed with my brain, and I cannot comprehend it anymore, and I just do not trust anything. The Illuminati is real. Aliens are real. I really don't know what to say. There's no explanation for any of this. Like, I don't understand at all. But you guys need to go online and research the Mandela Effect. There's a whole bunch of websites about it, and everyone's talking about it, and it's just like crazy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video where I talked about this random conspiracy theory. I just really needed to talk about it and share it with you guys. So thanks for listening to me. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I post a couple videos a week, and I'll see you guys in my next video.
I'm taking over my body, back in control, no more shoddy. I bet a lot of me was lost, T's and crossing I's and dotted. I fought it a lot, and it seems a lot like flesh is all I got. Not anymore, flesh out the door, swat. I must have forgot, you can't trust me. I'm open a moment and close when you show it before you